I'm Miriam from Keto Chow, and today I have Lisa. She's going to share her bariatric journey with us. We have a lot of people that have said they've used Keto Chow with bariatric surgery, and a lot of people who have had questions about using it. So she's going to give us some answers.
I was like a lot of people out there. I was almost 300 pounds, miserable, hated life, and I was looking for answers. And I went to multiple doctors to find out, I did everything. Like everybody does everything, like, sweating to the oldies, kind of doing everything.
Yo-yo dieting.
Yeah, absolutely. The cabbage soup diet, that was my favorite, eating cabbage soup every day.
Blech.
Oh, it was just miserable. Granolas, low fat, yogurts, eating 500 calories. And I was looking for a solution, and I had heard about gastric bypass. I'd seen the rapid weight loss, and I knew that that's what I wanted. I was 29 when I had my gastric bypass, and I lost 140 pounds within 9 months.
Wow.
Everything went well. I lost the weight quickly. I kept it off for 10 and a half years, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And then I started noticing that I was tired a lot.
Okay.
And so I went to my doctor, and she's like, oh, you're just a little low in your iron.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm just a little low in my iron. So I started looking into nutrition, and I found it was the wild man's diet or caveman diet, if you remember. And that kind of led me down the path. And then I found Dr. Barry, and I started following him and the keto diet. And then I found Keto Chow. And I love Keto Chow. It's one of the things that helps me keep my vitamins and minerals going, and it also helps me keep my weight down because 50% of all gastric bypass patients will gain their weight back. So I started with it because I started using it as a supplement because I have to have 90 grams of protein a day.
Okay.
And I rarely maybe get 30 on a good day. I just can't eat that much.
Okay.
So I'd have to go all the way carnivore to get all of that protein, and that's not something I know a lot of people do carnivore. I'm just not to that point yet. So I eat 70% of my protein in my meals, and I was finding that if I have a Keto Chow in between, because it's 25 to 30 grams, right?
It's 26.
26. I was close, right? It doesn't matter how much vitamins you take, you will always have malabsorption problems. I've done a lot of the research and read a lot of the scientific papers on it, and it's just the fact that you will always have B12 and B vitamin and iron problems and calcium problems after a gastric bypass.
So, question then, so we try to have the vitamins in Keto Chow that are the most absorbable. Have you noticed, does that make a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that was one of the reasons I did the Keto Chow when I found it, because I had been looking at a lot of the other protein drinks. And it is the absorption. So the methylated B vitamins in Keto Chow have really helped me absorb it quickly, because that's what you need with the gastric bypass. So that's why I take my iron sublingual instead of in the stomach, where it won't have as much time if you take it sublingual. And with the methylated ones, the folate and the B12, I can get it. And those are the two vitamins that most gastric bypass patients are the lowest in,
It's
especially
iron and
B12.
B12.
Yes. Most of them end up getting B12 shots. And a lot of the vitamins are junk out there.
Yeah.
They're just synthetic junk, and they don't do you any good. And I was even doing patches at one time because I thought they were going to help me, and they've proven not to be great. And so when I found Keto Chow, that was the main reason, as I read all of the ingredients and that they were good. Like, we're told to take the magnesium malate, right? And that's in Keto Chow. And so that is the one that is best for me to take and more absorbable. So when I read that, I was like, this is a no-brainer to me. I'm going to take this because all my vitamins are there. And I just read really carefully how much I'm supposed to take, and then I don't take as much in my regular multivitamins. And I don't take a standard multivitamin. I take multiple different vitamins so that I know exactly how much I'm taking.
Yeah, right.
So I use it and it's really, and a lot of people worry about the sodium. Sodium is probably the best thing that I've noticed, that I don't swell as much in my legs as I used to, because I was never getting enough. And so when I started drinking Keto Chow, it's slightly salty at first, right? And I've read some of the things like, why is there so much sodium in here? And then as I started taking it and doing the research, I'm like, oh, this is the reason my legs aren't swelling as much, is because I'm getting as much sodium as I need, not taking less, but taking more.
Yeah.
And it really helped. Because doctors tell
Opposite.
you, right? If you're swelling, cut back on your sodium. Well, it's the opposite. I love it. I love Keto Chow. I use it on a daily basis. And I hopefully will never stop using it.
And it tastes good.
Yeah, it
So
tastes
that
so
helps.
good. So good. In fact, I make my husband, he doesn't think he needs, he's kind of the skinny fat guy. And, but I'll say, you need a shake, here's your protein shake. And he's like, well, this one's really good. He really likes the chocolate mint one. And the other day I didn't have any for him. And the Fairlife, I don't know if you've heard those protein shakes. Those are his fallback if he doesn't have them. And he was really sad he had to drink one of those because I didn't have a Keto Chow made. So yeah,
It's funny.
Yeah, it's good. And I really like it. Another thing I use as the ice cream, right? So I'll make it up as an ice cream, and I can have a cup of that.
Yeah.
So now I can have my ice cream. I can have that cold treat. And I found that when I did go off, my iron started to plummet again, and I started feeling really bad. And once I started back onto the Keto Chow and the keto diet, my levels have just leveled off, and I'm able to keep them up. Keto Chow has really helped me maintain if I do the right fat.
Okay, so what fats do you use in Keto Chow?
Chocolate is my go-to. Chocolate and the chocolate peanut butter I love. And I use the heavy whipping cream for that. And then if I want like apple pie, I love the apple pie one. I just use butter with that one. And it's really good. So that's how I do it. If I'm just going to have a Keto Chow, I will mix it with the heavy cream so that I have over the 10 grams of fat in it.
Okay. And that seems to work well for you. And you've been able to maintain your weight that way?
I've gained 20 pounds back since my surgery, which is really not bad.
That's good.
It's good, but it's not where I want to be, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's these other influences going on. But Keto Chow has helped me not gain more, where a lot of people gain it all back and then some after they've had their surgery. So, yeah, it's really helped me, I believe, maintain my weight. And it's helped me stay healthier. Because of the malabsorption part of the gastric bypass.
So I have a question.
Sure.
If you were going to go back and do it again, and you found keto before you had the gastric bypass, how do you think that would go?
I absolutely wish I had found keto before I had my gastric bypass. I know it's really hard to go back in time, but if I could, I would not have had the gastric bypass. I find that the consequences of taking a perfectly healthy portion of your intestines out, it's caused me a lot of problems. And I have mild problems compared to a lot of people. Some people have lost their lives because of a gastric bypass. And when I started losing my teeth, I knew that was just the tip of the iceberg about all the other things that are going on. So if I had found Keto Chow before I had made that, I wish I had the opportunity to do it for 90 days and see what a difference it could have done for me back then. And I challenge anybody who's thinking about having a gastric bypass to really take that challenge. Do Keto Chow for 90 days. Do keto for 90 days before you make that decision, because it's a lifetime decision. There is a reversal. You can go back and have your gastric bypass reversed, but it's like a puzzle. Once you've cut into that, you can never go back to the way it was before.
Yeah.
And it's better to do something that is so uninvasive as simple as changing the way you eat and the way you think about food and the way you approach it, that doesn't go away with a magic, surgery. It doesn't go away even with keto. You've got to change the mindset before you can do anything else, because it won't matter if you don't change why you're craving what you crave. I grew up, comfort food was the hot, fresh bread that came out of the oven that my mom made. That was like love to me. And so when I smell fresh bread right now, bread is so hard for me to stay away from, because it triggers that emotion like, I want to feel loved again, right? If I don't feel loved, I go to the bread or I go to the donut or whatever. And it's just changing that, like, okay, I can acknowledge that that's what I'm lacking or what I want, and I can find better ways to fill that.
But you have to consciously do that.
It's a conscious decision.
Yeah, and it's not immediate gratification like food is.
No. And you got to figure out why and change and give the little habits. If I don't have a donut, what am I going to, I'm going to go for a walk.
Yep.
Or I'm going to go.
To replace it.
Yes, I'm going to go do something with my family, or I'm going to call a friend, or do something instead of eating that. And it's so easy to talk about, it's harder to do, but it is doable.
Yeah.
And it's far more doable than having the surgery, changing your life, and still having those same issues, and still falling back on those things. And it's just this vicious cycle that keeps going on.
So if you're going to talk to someone who had just recently had the gastric bypass and you were going to recommend Keto Chow, how would you recommend that they use it?
First of all, their doctor's going to have for the first month or two, they're going to be on liquid diets and soft foods.
Okay.
And the liquid is like clear liquids.
Oh.
Because your body needs time to heal from the surgery.
So you're fasting for like a month.
You are. And then they'll put you on the soft. So the soft one, when you're on a soft diet, they'll allow you to eat pudding. Well, guess what?
Keto Chow pudding.
Exactly. You can make Keto Chow pudding. And you can drink it. You're just going to have to drink it real slow, because you can only eat 1/4 of a cup at a time. So you're going to have to break that down during the day. And I would say I would rather probably drink it and thin it out. So I would use the butter instead of the heavy cream, because it makes it really thick.
Yeah.
And so you'll be able to handle the fat. And you just take it slow. And you can have 2 or 3 of those 14 ounces. You're supposed to be drinking water anyway, and it will count as part of your water intake. And just make sure you do that before you do anything else. And you have the vitamins and minerals you have, and it will fill you up. Stay on the keto diet and use Keto Chow to help you through that, because you need those vitamins and minerals. And if you start now, the minute you have that surgery, keeping your vitamins up, the malabsorption will be less impactful.
Yeah.
It'll still be there, because there's nothing you can do about it, but it'll be less impactful on your health if you start right away keeping that up.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
You are welcome.
I really appreciate having you here.
I enjoyed having chats with you all the time. That's great.